Let's move on to a summary of this article. Many Southeast Asian countries used to count on Chinese tourists to visit, spend, and boost their economy. But obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic has put a stop to all of that. For the time being, China seems determined to stick to its strict quarantine regulations, much stricter than we are experiencing here in Korea, for example. The effects of this are devastating to Southeast Asian economies, and people are hoping things return to normal as quickly as possible. So, have you been thinking about this, John, and how it's affecting Korea's economy?
Not too much, because I'm not not in the tourism industry too much. But of course, I think it's part of the economy, and the economy is very important. Thankfully, I think a lot of the tourism economy in Korea is on, like, having an IV attached and a little beep, 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 status going, but it's not dead yet.
Yes.
So that's a positive thing. It might be in a coma, but it's not dead. So I'm hopeful. I'm a bit hopeful. And I hope that it does pick up, because that means like money comes into Korea, and money coming into Korea means my money in Korea is stronger.
Yes, we need that. Do you think America's economy has been affected by the absence of Chinese tourists?
Oh, wow. I think it's case by case, like area by area. There might be a few cities where Chinese tourism was quite like high, and not having them has been devastating. But America as a whole country, I can't say they've been affected like a lot from drop in tourism.
Yeah, I guess there are to me it seems like there are certain areas that are very tourist driven.
Yeah.
Like, would I be right in saying places like New York,
sure.
New Orleans, San Francisco?
Yeah.
But the Midwest?
I mean, if you know the name, then it's probably popular for tourism. Yeah.
Yes. But huge swathes of America, make their money in vastly different ways. Yeah.
You say swathes. I've always said swaths.
Oh, is that
interesting?
Oh.
Yeah. Huh. I always like hearing stuff like that. Or like, that way, huh? Aluminium. You put a little extra vowel in there, huh?
Yes, aluminium.
Yeah. Was it originally aluminium, or was it like? See, that's what I'm wondering.
That's a very difficult question. Obviously, because I'm British, I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Ours is the original way, and yours is some later.
Yeah, I mean,
change.
Since Britain is kind of like the mother nation, I have to accept what you say.
It's my go-to argument.
Now, for England, Chinese tourism.
I actually had a look at the statistics on this, and in 2019, Chinese tourists spent £1.7 billion in the UK, which was the highest it had been sort of rising for many years.
Oh, wow.
The entire UK tourist industry is worth about £23 billion, or it was in 2019. So that is actually a pretty significant percentage.
It is.
Yeah.
I am sorry for your country, and I'm sorry for your loss.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's got to do with tax as well. We are, our government has floated a policy that we are going to axe the VAT exemption.
Okay.
And of course, to any tourist, not just Chinese ones, this is massively off-putting. Imagine if you had to pay UK tax on everything you buy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm hoping they don't go ahead with that policy. That's terrible.
There's a lot of policies that have been going ahead with these days that in many countries that have not been so satisfactory.
Well, totally. Yes.
Now, another policy that many people might not find satisfactory is the Chinese policy of being this like zero COVID sort of rule. And that's being very strict, making people, stay in their houses to the point where they think they may die. Do you think China's being a bit too strict, or do you think that them trying their hardest to protect human lives is actually something that's good?
To me, I've tried to do research into this. I've tried to understand the Chinese side, but to me it still makes no sense. I cannot understand why they're doing this, why they're so strict on this policy. To me, it seems much better to have the living with COVID policy, which is what we have here. It's what that we have back in the UK, and trying to get life a little bit returned to normal. What do you think?
As for me, I also don't quite understand this extent. I can think like, okay, try to be very strict with maybe travel and stuff, but to be so strict that there are some people in danger for their lives or health, that's not COVID related is a bit too much in my book.
So let's finish off by taking a look at today's vocabulary.
Venture.
Venture.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Bustling.
Bustling.
Clamor.
Clamour.
Infuse.
Infuse.